All right, today we're learning about the central message. And the central message in a story just means the lesson that the author wants us to know or learn. Okay, so we can use key details or events of a story to figure out the central message, which is just, again, a lesson that the author wants to share with the readers. Okay, so many stories have a central message or lesson that the author wants to share. They want to teach us something. The story teaches the lesson through the characters, the events that happen, and what the characters learn. As you read, looking for key details will help you to find the central message and understand what you read or read. So look at the cartoon and think about a lesson that the boy learns by the end. Let's take a look at this cartoon. Okay, it looks like he's learning to ride a bike. And he's saying, "Don't let go of me." And oh, looks like she let go. And then he realizes that he can do it. I can do it. He's riding his bike all by himself. So it's probably his first time learning to ride a bike. Probably his first time without those training wheels, right? I used to have training wheels when I was learning to ride. And he's afraid. He's saying, "Don't let go of me." He looks kind of nervous. He looks kind of scared. But she lets go of him anyways. But then he finds out he can do it. So what would be our lesson here? What do we think? Let's think about what's happening. Let's think about our characters. We have this little boy and probably his mom. I think the lesson is you can do more than you think. Another lesson could be sometimes we need a little push, or sometimes what we want is not what we need. He really wants her to keep pushing him and not let go of him, but it's not what he needed in the end. He realized he could do it all by himself. So you can do more than you think. You are more powerful than you think. All right, so that's a really good lesson that the creator of this comic is trying to show us. So we're going to take a look at another story, and fables and fairy tales and folk tales. So fables and folk tales always have, or usually have, a really important message because they were told orally, passed down through the generations, and they wanted to teach, their children or their friends new lessons through stories about how to be a better person. Okay, so let's take a look at let's just go ahead and do a new one here. There we go. Okay, The Dog and His Reflection. This is one of my favorite stories. This is an Aesop fable. And let's take a look here. Let me get my highlighter. Okay. Actually, let me get a better. There we go. All right. And we'll make this. There we go. Okay, so The Dog and His Reflection. Let's take a look at this picture here. We have a dog looking at his reflection in the water. A dog to whom the butcher had thrown a bone, and a butcher is just someone who works with animals, someone who breaks up animal pieces so they sell meat, was hurrying home with his prize as fast as he could go. So the butcher gave the dog a nice bone. As he crossed a narrow footbridge, he happened to look down and saw himself reflected in the quiet water as if in a mirror. There's his reflection in the water there. But the greedy dog thought he saw a real dog carrying a bone much bigger than his own. Uh-oh. If he had stopped to think, he would have known better. But instead of thinking, he dropped his bone and sprang, or jumped, at the dog in the river, only to find himself swimming for dear life to reach the shore. At last he managed to scramble out, and as he stood sadly thinking about the good bone he had lost, he realized what a stupid dog he had been. All right, so in this story, the dog was looking at his own reflection in the water, but he thought it was another dog, a dog that had a bone much bigger than his. So he decided he would jump in the water to get that bone. So he dropped his own bone and jumped in. But it was his own reflection. So he ended up losing his own bone. And then he was struggling in the water and had to scramble back to shore. So he was very greedy. He wanted that other bone. So what do you think the message is, the lesson in this story? What is this author trying to tell us, trying to teach us? What shouldn't we be? Okay? How could we learn from this character in the story, this dog, and his actions? So you're going to find out. All you have to do today is write the central message for this story in Seesaw. What is that central message? What is that lesson that Aesop is trying to teach us? And that's all you have today. So this week we'll be looking at stories and determining their central message, their lesson, what they're trying to teach us. Have a good day, guys.